After going up against the Vegas Golden Knights 3-0, the Flyers fall to them in a shootout ending in a score of 5-4. So this is a very all-over-the-place game in terms of positives and negatives. Obviously, kind of the story that was surrounding outside of the game is Flyers trade rumors, and we're being told a bunch of different information, but they came out early looking great. All four lines were clicking. I think that Morgan Frost easily had his best game of the season, coming up with that goal with the tip in from Ristolainen and also an assist. So things were looking very positive. You know, we were pretty much dominating the chances and the flow of the game against a top team in the league, but it almost felt inevitable that the Golden Knights were going to come back, because they are a team that just puts the pressure back on you, is always in games. You can never really be fully up on them, and that just kind of happened. It wasn't really, I would say, defensive breakdowns. It wasn't ever a bad mishandled play. It just seemed like every goal they were beaten clean, and it got past Fedotov. And you know, while it is discouraging that they blew such a high, lead of 3-0, it's also encouraging that they hung in there with such a great team. I think that this, like I was saying earlier, this game had a lot of positives. I wanted to point out three players in this. I really wanted to point out Rasmus Ristolainen, who I think has really stepped up into a new gear defensively. That was kind of the problems that we were seeing earlier on in his Flyers career, that he would just be almost lost out in his own zone, creating really bad turnovers. He had a really bad plus-minus, which, is not the best stat ever, but it did show on how many goals he really was on the ice for. And I feel like he's completely cleaned that up. You see him moving the puck, which we never saw him before. You see him just checking guys and keeping them honest, making them make a play around him, or they're not going to get past him, which is what you want to see from that kind of guy, from that third pair, very physical defenseman. And he can play up in the lineup as well. So huge shout out to Rasmus Ristolainen from this game. I think that we saw another really strong game from Emil Andre. Getting his first NHL goal was such an exciting thing to watch. He really is coming into his own as an offensive-minded defenseman. He can drive play like no other defenseman. Maybe Sanheim, who I will talk about in a second, but he can drive play like almost, and if not everybody else on the Flyers defensive core. He really can see the ice with the level of intelligence of a experienced guy, and that's great to see him come in and fill that role immediately. Travis Sanheim, once again, as the commentators kept pointing out, is making his case for Team Canada. He looks fantastic. He really is just in control whenever he's on the ice. He's always dangerous. You saw him rush in for a couple of chances that could have easily gone in. I love how he works off the chemistry with Travis Konechny and Matvei Michkov when they're out on the ice together. I just think he has turned a completely new leaf, even more so than last year. Ivan Fedotov is going to be a story once again in this game. He did let in some softer goals, we'll say. He looked fine mostly, but again, I think that this team can't rely on him too much as their starter. I think that once Samuel Ersson comes back, he can shift back into more of a backup role and steal some games that way. So again, a little bit of an up and down night. Obviously, you would have liked to see them eke out a victory here, even if the Golden Knights are one of the strongest teams in the league, and they showed why in this game. They showed how you can never really be on your heels against a team like this, and I think that they just at the end were out playing the Flyers, which isn't really something you can ask for from this team right now. They are in a rebuilding phase. They are super young, and all you can ask for is for them to put forth the best effort that they can, and to hang around with teams like that, which they did. So yes, I am definitely proud of the Flyers tonight. A little bit disappointed that they didn't get the victory, but overall, still got a point in overtime, still hung around with one of the best teams in the league, and still showed why that there's so much promise in Philadelphia. So your final score for the night is 5-4 in a shootout for the Vegas Golden Knights. And then I'm going to give you 3 of my standout players, and that's going to be obviously Morgan Frost, number 1. Number 2 is going to be Rasmus Ristolainen, and number 3 is going to be Travis Sanheim. Actually, no, I'm going to switch it to Emil Andre just for getting his first NHL goal.